Based upon the exclusive and already lightweight Carrera RS 2.7, the 1973 Porsche 911 RSR was built to compete in the FIA's Group 4 category for special Grand Touring cars. The RSR incorporates every conceivable improvement allowed by the rulebook, including massive fender flares, central oil cooler air intake, and ultra-wide wheels 9 inches up front and 11 at the rear. The RSR's Type 911 52 engine produced a reliable 300 horsepower at 8,000 RPM. To handle the car's improved capabilities, Porsche engineers developed revised suspension settings and designed an incredibly effective braking system based on exotic 917 components. The result was the 2.8 RSR, immediately proving its worth in racing, capturing wins at the 24 Hours of Daytona, 12 Hours of Sebring, Targa Florio, and 6 of 9 rounds of the 73 European GT Championship. There are only 55 RSRs constructed for the 1973 season, and because of their rarity mixed with incredible provenance, these cars have sold in recent years for over $2 million. This specific car is a 1973 Porsche 911 RSR Tribute built by John Gunderson. Power is provided by a fuel-injected Roth Sport Racing 3.5-liter flat 6 mated to a Type 915 5-speed manual transaxle and a limited slip differential. Features include sculpted steel bumpers, an aluminum ducktail rear spoiler, custom dual exhaust outlets, and Elephant Racing suspension components. At 2,200 pounds and dynoing at 355 horsepower, this car gives a potential buyer the chance to experience and own the power and performance of a true legend at a fraction of the price. This car is one of 3 RSR Tribute cars built by John Gunderson. And like with all the restorations he does, he is very meticulous about documenting the entire restoration. So linked below is a website you can go to with photos of this car throughout the entire build. And he does that with all the cars he restores. We have sold quite a few Dynoeds that he's done. And if you haven't seen those videos, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. You can find them in our YouTube channel. But he makes sure to spend a lot of attention on every little detail and documentation, which means it's really nice to be able to see exactly the process gone through when restoring these cars. This one in particular, the donor car that this came from was blasted down to bare metal and then meticulously worked on. Gunderson wanted to make sure there was no fiberglass in the build. So the fenders and bumper are steel, and then the hood and the rear ducktail are aluminum and all hand built. Every bit of this car and the build was meticulous and very detail oriented. So the Gulf livery on this car is iconic. It was brought to fame by the GT40s and the 917 Porsche driven by Steve McQueen in the movie Le Mans. It's just one of those iconic and worldwide recognized color combinations. And the colors on this car are not vinyl stickers. None of it is a decal. It was all hand painted, which takes a lot of time, but it's that kind of attention to detail throughout the entire build, not just the paint, but every little bit of it that makes this car just so spectacular. The original RSR was a 2.8-liter engine that had about 300 horsepower. And when Gunderson was building this car, he wanted to stick as close to the original as possible, but with some slight improvements without going way too modernized. A lot of people have compared this car and his other 2 builds to kind of like how Singer does their cars, except the main difference is Singer adds a lot of modern components, whereas this is trying to stay as true to the original and historic 73 RSR as possible, with some slight internal improvements to give it that little extra power. So this engine is 3.5 liters and produces a dynoed at 355 horsepower. So got a little extra oomph to it. But as you can see, it looks very original to the 70s cars. Plus, the engine bay on this car is probably one of the cleanest I've ever seen. And when I said earlier there was no expense spared when it came to attention to detail, I wasn't kidding. Inside the engine bay here at the back, there's the leather liner that has the diamond stitching in it, and it's orange to contrast with the orange of the Gulf livery, just like the roll cage inside the car has black leather wrapped around it with the orange stitching, so everything matches. One of my favorite parts of the job is getting to test drive these cars, but there are some that are just so much more enjoyable to drive for a lot of reasons. Not only does this car have amazing power and it shifts smooth and it has a light clutch and it's just easy and fun to drive, but it's also really comfortable. And that can't be said about all these classic cars. So it's that perfect combination where you really feel like you could drive this car around for hours in comfort and truly enjoy yourself and not get tired of it. And the driving experience, it is very powerful. It has shorter shifts, so it keeps you busy in a real fun kind of way. It has no power steering, but it's not heavy steering at all. It's a light car with light steering, but because of the huge rear wheels, you feel very connected to the ground. You feel like you can really push it around the corners. And then as far as the detailing on the interior goes, it's just everything. It has no AC. That's got taken away, so it's really clean looking dash. I love how it's color coordinated with the blue dash, and it even has the Gulf livery blue and orange for the key right here, the Alcantara, the leather wrapped roll bar with the orange stitching. It's all the little details that make the interior feel comfortable, look really stylish and nice and clean, and it's just a very enjoyable car. After having sold hundreds of cars in my career, this car is one of the most flawless that I've ever sold. It is basically a new car. I mean, it is a 73. It's based off all 73 components, but unlike a lot of old 70s cars that I have sold that have been restored, and they're great quality too, but there's something about this car where it really feels better than brand new. I mean, there's no way that they were this good when they were new. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for a lot of fun stuff we have coming up very soon.